but you can pick it up as you go along. But it's nice to be in a position where you can get elements of training on it because it gives you a foot forward, all right? It's not to say where the ethical schools, I need to go there.
Sometimes schools. I know I went to a finishing school though.
Yes, which I think is fantastic because I run a finishing school myself. But you see, at this point in time, if you get the opportunity to go, don't say, oh, I don't want to go, or I have to go because my office says I have to go. Every learning experience is important. Knowledge is power. Whenever you find yourself in a position where you're learning something new, grab it. You might not need that knowledge now, you might need it later. But yes, it's good to go to a place where you can learn some of these soft skills because it's an added advantage. It's your panache advantage, I call it. But then again, always be observant. You know, use people that are mentors to you, that are coaches to you, that, you know, you really like the way they are. Watch the way they do things. Watch the way they conduct themselves, how they communicate, how they behave, their appearance and their attitude, and you will learn a whole lot more.
Right,
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. And that's all on Ladies Talking Business today. I do hope you really learned a lot because I did. Until next time, I still remain your host, Irene Ubani. Bye.
Far away in a foreign land, they have embarked on a new adventure. What challenges will they confront? What pleasures will they experience?
Is to be the best in this competition because I really want to show the African how beautiful they are. Amazing!
A brand new life with all possibilities. Nigerians in China on StarTimes.nkoa.
This is Plus TV Africa. Welcome to One on One with Onyeka Akoma, CEO and founder of Farm Crowdy. How has the journey been?
It's been an interesting experience. I took the wrong route of using CVs. So people had 20 years, 50 years experience, and you felt like, oh, this guy is going to be a guru.
Did you know anything about farming prior to Farm Crowdy?
I was 12 years old when my mom made me raise a couple of hundreds of birds, and she said to me that I should raise them and I was going to sell them at Christmas, and then I'll give the money to Santa Claus and he'll buy me a gift.
Okay. In June 2018, Farm Crowdy lost some farmers. Are you still avoiding those places at the moment?
We don't have enough confidence to go back to Barkin Ladi to go and start another farm there. I think it's someone else's duty to deal with the security situation. If these farmers are not able to go back to the farm to work for lack of security in that location, how will they put food on the table? It's all they know how to do.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
Country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Niger, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
They've seen the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way they inside. Come out, fire department can't try quench the fire.
For the first time for Niger, every will enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more story, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Hello. Thank you for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewike, and here are some of the stories making the headlines. Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, began a protest on Wednesday over the delay in the inauguration of the board of an agency. The union had accused the Labour Minister, Chris Ngige, of being desperate to run the National Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, as a sole administrator because he wants to turn the trust fund into his cash cow. The union, led by its General Secretary Peter Esan, marched to the minister's Sokoto residence on Wednesday, carrying placards with various inscriptions accusing the minister of illegality. Our correspondent reports that policemen were drafted to the minister's residence to disperse the tensed protesters. Nupeng declared 2 of his members missing as a result of the clash that ensued between the police and protesters, and also threatened to go on a nationwide strike if they are not found.
That there is no force on earth that is stronger than the feeble strength of any worker. Yes. I want to also assure Nigerian workers that this is just the beginning of the struggle. Yes. We went to picket both his office and his house. He has used talks with the help of security agencies to attack us and also attack our vehicles. By tomorrow, we are calling the Central Working Committee of all our unions, and we are going to respond effectively. We are in a democratic era. The freedom for all Nigerians to freely assemble for the purpose of protecting their rights and interests is guaranteed by the Constitution. If a federal minister under a dispensation that understands the rudiment of the rule of law will then take laws into his hand because picketing is legal. Our labor laws allow workers to picket. Our labor laws allow us to exercise our right to protest when policies are not there. And in this instance, we are protesting when people continue to feast with our funds at the Social Insurance Trust Fund. We are not going to relent until the needful is actually done. Yes. And therefore, comrades, we are here. We are going to visit his office. Yes. Yes. We must tell him that the office does not belong to him. Yes. He is holding that office in public trust. Yes. He has no right to use or misuse that office to the benefit of himself. That office is a public office, and our political elites must realize that they are holding office in public trust. Any day that trust is broken, then certainly there is no democratic people in place. So, comrades, for some of
Troops of the Nigerian army on Tuesday repelled attacks coordinated by Boko Haram at Moloi village in the outskirts of Maiduguri, the latest onslaught on the beleaguered city in Nigeria's violence-wrecked northeast. Brigadier General Bulama Biu, the General Officer commanding GOC 7th Division and Commander Sector 1 of Operation Lafayette Dole, confirmed the development in a telephone interview with the news agency of Nigeria late on Tuesday. The jihadists reportedly fired sporadic shots in an attempt to infiltrate the community at about 6:30 p.m., forcing villagers to flee. The development sparked speculations that insurgents were on course on attacking Maiduguri, the capital, but Biu dismissed the report as misleading. He said that gallant troops had repelled an attempt by the terrorists to infiltrate Moloi community. Still in the news, 5 persons are feared dead following an attack by suspected headsmen in a mobile community of Adokola local government area in Taraba State. The attack started on Monday at Woye community under Jalingo local government area and later escalated to Yewa in Abara community of Adokola local government area on Tuesday. According to some members of the community who spoke to newsmen, the attackers rode on motorcycles and shot sporadically, which led to the death of 5 persons and several houses burnt. They also said that the headsmen ransacked other communities and 2 persons are receiving treatment in a hospital. An eyewitness, Francis Nomiri, who narrated the incident, said his father was among those who got hit by stray bullets from the attackers. The State Commissioner of Police, Al-Qasim Sanusi, confirmed that the command has been intimated on the issue and security operatives have been deployed to the affected communities to restore normalcy. The chairman of the Northern Elders Forum, Professor Ango Abdullahi, has lamented the growing security challenges facing the country, saying President Muhammadu Buhari is not doing enough to salvage the situation. The former Vice-Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, was reacting to the presidency's assertion that the kidnap of the district head of Daura, Buhari's hometown in Katsina State, had shown the security agencies were not given any town preferential treatment. Abdullahi slammed the presidency, saying the current security issues in the north was worse than when Goodluck Jonathan was leading the country. The leader urged the presidency to focus on securing lives and property in the country. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Adamu, told senators on Monday that there is little or nothing the police can do to curb the rising waves of insecurity in the country with shortage of funds, inadequate equipment and personnel. The IGP, who was drilled for 2.5 hours on the security situation in the country, told the lawmakers at a closed-door session that the major problems confronting the police force were shortage of funds, men and material required to carry out the job. Public Affairs Analyst Gbolahan Olojede gave his take on this.
What is wrong is there's a multidimensional problem. The police as an institution in itself, what kind of training, what kind of people apply to be policemen, what kind of training do we give them, what is their welfare like? If I'm shot as a policeman in the course of duty, what is the insurance I have for what would my family have a recourse to if that happens? If I'm maimed, I'm unable to walk again, what do I get? So from the recruitment itself to the training to the welfare, everything is wrong. We all know so much has been said about SARS in the past, but beyond SARS, it's not just about SARS. In the last negative news was about arresting prostitutes in Abuja, and the people they called prostitutes in the first instance, how did they establish that they were prostitutes, and then they were now raped, and all those kind of things. So we can see that even in the mundane things, we do not have the right force. That is the starting point. Then now come to the complexities of the situation that these ill-prepared, ill-rewarded police had to deal with. It is extremely complex. I've listened to people. I almost bought into the fact that Zamfara crisis is all about mining of gold, until I watched an interview of people in some Zamfara villages, and then I begin to ask myself: is it really about mining? The people that were interviewed, that local government, there is no single mine, no gold, no mining was going on there. And people, the bandits still went in there. In a spate of 3 days, they wiped about 87 people. They refused to collect any money. They were not asking anybody for money. They were just killing at random. So if you think it was about reward, then you begin to ask yourself, why didn't they take any reward? They were just interested in killing and burning those buildings. If it was about gold, there was no mine in that particular local government. So the problem is quite complex. Where you have unemployed youth, the energy of the youth must be deployed. It's either you invest it and deploy it positively, or you allow it to run riot and it will be deployed into negative things, into vices of all sorts. a hand that is available, the devil can use. That is the truth. So where you have a whole lot of people, young people, with all the energy, mental and physical, and they're not gainfully engaged, they are open to vices. So unemployment is a major problem. And the sad thing about unemployment is that we need to get more dramatic about measures, because it's not about to go away. We have a nation in which population is growing faster than the economy. So what that means is that more people will continue to slip into poverty as long as that situation remains. We are producing more people, we are unleashing more people into the employment market than the number of jobs we are creating. As long as that situation remains, unemployment will continue to widen. So the problem remains as it is, or probably will even be going worse. It's not meant to achieve something than to send the message to the people that the Senate is also doing something about the security. The Senate has a security committee. The security committee could have arranged to meet with the security chiefs and have a more heart-to-heart talk, which are likely to be more realistic than the public show when you put the guy on the stage. This is a jamboree.
Amnesty International is calling for the unconditional release of persons, including children, detained by the military and forcefully separated from their wives over suspicion of being members of the Boko Haram sect. The country director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojigo, standing in solidarity, called for the release, saying government must ensure the women get justice.
This is the story of the Nifa women. Some of them are survivors of sexual violence. Some of them were beaten, were assaulted. Many of them know the price of hunger, starvation. Many of them saw their children, their loved ones die as a result of lack of food. We have been calling for justice. Justice for everyone that have suffered loss of family, of life, of property, of livelihood. And justice that those who have caused this pain and those who have brought this calamity upon us are also able to feel justice in their lives. We've been calling for an end for this insurgency, for an end for this injustice. And in the course of this, we discovered the enormity of how the insurgency and the fight to end the insurgency has affected family life. Women, children, fathers, brothers, uncles, aunts, grandmothers, grandfathers. The fabric of family life in our state, in Nigeria, is greatly affected by this insurgency. Families are no longer together. Families that do not know where their loved ones are, whether they are alive, whether they are dead. And even those that remained, those that survived, those that are alive, some of them suffered calamities that will remain with them for the rest of their lives.
I suffered very so much. I suffered, and I'm suffering now. So I want to tell to Nigerian government that should release our sons. Now about 9 to 8 years, I didn't see my son. I don't know why. So we have telling something. We have telling them since that 8 years. We have telling them, but nothing could happen. So we want our children, even though they are alive or not. We want to say our children. We want to let them bring out the list of all the detainees since from 2010 up to today.
The Yoruba Council of Youths Worldwide has warned Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai to desist from acts that could earn him disgrace from the Yoruba nation. Addressing reporters in Lagos, the council's president, Aremu Hassan, said the statement credited to El-Rufai, saying he would teach Lagosians how to end Godfatherism, was abysmally insulting. Hassan queried why the governor would leave his Kaduna state, which is under intense insecurity and fears He said El-Rufai lacked the credibility to utter such seditious statement in a Yoruba land. The youth leader wondered how someone who ought to focus on how to end insecurity and abject poverty ravaging his state and region would come to the mega city, the center of excellence and the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, and Africa's emerging economic hub, to claim he wants to end godfatherism. Earlier today, during an off-the-press program, Gbolahan Olojede, a public affairs analyst, said El-Rufai should better concentrate more on fixing Kaduna problems than interfering in Lagos politics.
It was on the all over the news yesterday when El-Rufai took the opportunity of a public event to talk about godfatherism in Lagos politics and how he dealt with it in Kaduna and how Lagos people should also deal with it. There is no doubt that godfatherism needs to be challenged, even in Lagos. Democracy needs to get more democratic in Lagos. But at the same time, one needs to also begin to question what is going on, because the so-called godfather in Lagos and El-Rufai are in the same political party, and they are both high up there in the echelon of the party. Does he see anything about what is going on in that party in itself? That's something to say. And apart from that, I think El-Rufai has more important things to deal with in his home state. There is a Kajuru killing that has been there forever. Kaduna itself has not really exactly been as peaceful. There is even still the Kaduna-Abuja Wahala that is hanging out there. So I think he had better concentrate more on fixing the Kaduna problem than interfering in Lagos politics. All the same, Lagos politics must get more democratic.
Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Professor Tijani Bande, is expected to take over the presidency of the world's body's General Assembly in June. This was disclosed by outgoing president of UNGA, Maria Espinosa, at a press conference in Abuja after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday. Bande will become the second Nigerian to be considered for the appointment as president of the UNGA after General Joseph Garba, who held the position between 1989 and 1990. Bande was born at Zaga in present-day Kebbi State. He holds MA in Political Science from the Boston University, Massachusetts, USA in 1981, and a PhD in Political Science from the University of Toronto, Canada in 1987. Bande was from January 2000 to February 2004 the Director General of the Center African Day Information Administrative Pole Development in Morocco. This is Africa's premier institution with responsibility for training and research in public administration and management. It's time to take a quick break. Stay tuned for more news when we return. You're watching News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. The leader of South Africa's main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, DA, urged all eligible voters to cast their ballots in parliamentary and provincial elections on Wednesday. Mmusi Maimene was appointed its first black leader in 2015 and made headlines by leading coalition victories in local government elections in Pretoria and Johannesburg a year later. But splits within the party and with allies could see support for the DA wane. The ruling African National Congress, ANC, will face its biggest challenges from the main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, and the leftist Economic Freedom Fighters. The centre-right's DA won 22% of the parliamentary vote in 2014. Queues built up at polling stations through the morning as South Africans started voting. Officials have not said when the final results will be announced.
On such a historic day, it is important to vote here in Soweto with the people of Soweto, to express a hope and a future for our country. Soweto, to me, represents in many ways the home of where the struggle is. And now we're entering into a struggle for jobs for many South Africans. And therefore, I call upon the people of this country to come out in their numbers today. It's a historic moment in our nation as we transition again.
The World Health Organization, WHO Strategic Advisory Group of Experts, SAGE, issued new recommendations on Tuesday to address vaccination challenges in the ongoing Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The recommendations include endorsing operational adjustments that make the vaccination process faster and adjusting the dosage based on available efficacy data. The news continues after this short break. At least 8 people have been killed in an explosion outside a major Sufi Muslim shrine in the Pakistani city of Lahore, officials said. 5 police officers were reportedly among the dead. A police van was the prime target, authorities said. Police have described the explosion as a suicide attack. Pakistan's APP news agency reports. The explosion occurred near the Data Daba Sufi Shrine, one of the oldest Sufi shrines in South Asia. So far, no group has said it carried out the attack. The bloodshed comes as Pakistani Muslims mark the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. A security operation is still underway in the area with heavy police presence at the blast site. Iran has suspended key commitments under the 2015 international nuclear deal, a year after it was abandoned by the U.S. President Hassan Rouhani said he would keep enriched uranium stocks in the country rather than sell them abroad. He also threatened to resume production of higher enriched uranium in 60 days. The accord was aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions in return for sanctions relief. But Iran-US tensions have risen since Washington quit. The U.S. House of Representatives yesterday unanimously backed legislation supporting Taiwan, which faces military and diplomatic pressure from China as members of the U.S. Congress push for a sharper approach to relations with Beijing. China expressed anger and said the bill should be blocked. The House passed the measures as Washington and Beijing continue months-long trade talks. China said yesterday Vice Premier Liu He would travel to Washington this week, setting up a last-ditch bid for a deal that would avoid a steep increase in tariffs ordered by the U.S. President Donald Trump. The House voted 414 to nil for a non-binding resolution reaffirming the U.S. commitment to Taiwan. Up next is our business news. Business. MTN Nigeria Communications PLC on Tuesday announced it had successfully completed the registration of 20,354,513,015 naira ordinary shares of 2 kobo each with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The company said in a statement that the completion of the registration process set in motion the next steps in its intended listing by introduction on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The Chief Executive Officer, MTN Nigeria, is excited that they have achieved another milestone in listing process. SEC and the NSC had confirmed on Monday that they received an application from MTN requesting the registration of its existing securities. The President, Chief Executive Officer, MTN Group, Rob Shuter, said the move would enable the company to get listed easily, adding that findings showed that the free float in the Nigerian market would be about 35%. Wolaho Olujide, a public affairs analyst, reacts to the development.
Yeah, that's a listing by introduction. A portion of that organization has been put on the exchange. And what that means is that the ordinary Nigerian, because there were Nigerian shareholders before anyway, but the ordinary Nigerian will be able to purchase the shares of MTN if they so desire. I think it's good. MTN is making so much money in Nigeria, so much profit, and the people might want to be part of that as well.
Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is a roundup on entertainment and sports.
got goals. You fancy footwork. You mad dribbling skills. You boots.
Most of you guys should know this drill.
You leg over. You raise. You run them. You tip. You tear shot and boom. You football.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
And in entertainment, the Queen visits to her 8th great-grandchild is the first royal visit the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have gotten since the birth of their child. The Queen set out from her castle in Windsor and was overjoyed as she made her 1.6-kilometer journey to the new parents' home in Frogmore Cottage. Both parents, to the 7th in line to the throne, have granted poses for TV with the newborn, and the British public are nothing but thrilled. Furthermore, on entertainment, actress Annie Adiba has lost her father to the cold hands of death. She took to her Instagram page on Wednesday, the 8th of May, 2019, to reveal the sad news. According to her, he had battled with cancer. She wrote, "R.I.P. Dad, you fought hard. The pain is gone." That is it on entertainment news. I am Ifelua Omai, the very best in sports, right after this.
Hey, Anu. Dad. Look, I got something for you.
A football chassis?
Hey, Adu, come watch a game with your uncle and I.
Please, come. I'm okay, thanks.
The kind of person that you asked me to be. My brother say he love me, I love him too. I tell him I will do anything for you. But it's strange.
Did you see how many goals they have scored?
I no get you.
They scored
I look up like this, say, who are you?
So, Daddy, you showed those blues pepper yesterday, right?
You sure did.
Those 3 points are sure for us today.
Remind me how.
Game's about to start. Quick, please.
Undisputed world cruiserweight champion Alexander Usyk has withdrawn from his heavyweight debut against Carlos Takam due to injury. According to Egis Klimas, the Ukrainian's manager, Usyk suffered a torn right biceps during a training session, which has forced him out of the May 25 bout against Takam at the MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Alexander Usyk holds all 4 world cruiserweight belts following a successful title defense against the now-retired Tony Bellew, but has since moved up to the heavyweight category. The 32-year-old won the 2012 Olympic heavyweight gold medal, and his professional record stands at 16 wins from as many fights with 12 knockouts. And that's it on Sports Updates. I'm Samson Oleide.
Thank you, Samson. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's also at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do please join us again. Thank you for watching.
politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let everybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
This is Plus TV Africa. Welcome to One on One. I am Elsie Godwin. Today we'll be one-on-one with Onyeka Akoma, who is the CEO and founder of Nigeria's first digital agriculture platform, FarmCrowdy. Thank you for joining us on Plus TV
Thank you
Africa.
very much.
Okay, FarmCrowdy launched in November 2016. That's about 3 years. How has the journey been so far?
It's been an interesting experience. It's not my first startup, and so I've been able to gather some knowledge from previous startups I'd worked in. But coming into the agriculture space and then trying to fuse technology into agriculture, it's been one experience that I will be happy to relive again with maybe another sector in the future. But it's been a very good one. We've grown in size. We've grown. The team has grown. I mean, we're a team now of 53 of us in FarmCrowdy. We cut across 13 states in the country, running offices in Lagos, in Abuja, and some of the investor relations one has to do in the US. It's been a good experience so far, and I'm grateful that we find ourselves in the position we are today.
Okay, you said if you have to relive this experience in other sectors, you wouldn't mind. So what sectors do you think you might
There are three sectors that I've always paid attention to personally. Agriculture, real estate, and transportation. I always said in the past that I hadn't seen a lot of technology come into these sectors and really have a lasting impact on Nigerians or Africans as a whole. Agriculture I picked first to walk around FarmCrowdy with. I'm devoted to that at the moment 100% to see how we continue to grow our impact in that sector. But when you talk about real estate, you talk about housing for people and how we've used technology in that space. It goes beyond advertising that a house exists in point A and point B, but actually creating solutions that people can relate with. And I haven't still seen some of that, so I'm actively looking at that. Then in transportation, I mean, I didn't really touch transportation first because my experience with Wakanda and Travel Better already put me in the travel space, and that had a bit of transportation there. Then there was also Uber and
so where
all
will you
the other
place Uber and Taxify?
Yes, the ride-hailing startups. So I'm still having my eyes there, but I'm not now. For now, it's totally on FarmCrowdy, it's totally on agriculture, it's totally on impacting the lives of farmers.
Did you know anything about farming prior to FarmCrowdy?
So what I usually tell people is that my first business was actually a chicken farm. I was 12 years old when my mom made me raise a couple of hundreds of birds, and she said to me that I should raise them, and then this was September of that year, and said I should raise them and I was going to sell them at Christmas, and then I'll give the money to Santa Claus and he'll buy me a gift.
Okay.
I believe that. So I went on to raising those birds, and then we sold some. I was excited about that, but the ones we couldn't sell, we had to kill them and make them, serve them on Christmas for us to eat. I think that was what spoiled the business for me, because chicken eggs was on the table. Basically, I said that just ended that business. So that was the only experience I had in agriculture before this. And that was also instrumental to how we started the business. I was careful about starting small to make sure we understood the whole process of agriculture. And it was good for us to go that way because eventually we had a lot of lessons down the road. If we had gone big, it would have been a total disaster and we wouldn't have gotten to where we are today.
Okay.
But in starting small, we've been able to scale over time. I haven't learned how to deal with risk, how to deal with all the factors that we had to deal with in growing the business. And this is where we are today now.
Okay, looking at FarmCrowdy, someone on the outside would probably think it's just a website where people just invest. I need you to put us through the day-to-day activities of the company itself. What do you have to go through on a daily basis to make sure the business is running?
Okay, so FarmCrowdy's website allows people to put money through the site to sponsor farmers. What you get on the website is a dashboard that then gives you updates about pictures, videos, and text of what is actually happening on the farm. In addition to that, is if you've sponsored the farm, you have records of what you've sponsored. And at the end of the cycle, it prompts you that your cycle is done, and then you should be expecting your return after harvest. That is the cool part that you see on the platform. The second thing that happens is, or the first thing that really happens before you can then sponsor a farm is, we identify different farm types, whether it's maize, rice, cassava, chicken farms, that we want to work on. We go to the field to go and identify the farmers we're going to work with. In identifying those farmers, we would have already done some research around who's going to buy this harvest from us. And so the buyer will tell us, I need 1.8 kg chickens. And they should all be this big, and they should be this size, and they should be this color. And then we take that and design a protocol that we use to go and select the farmers we work with through the farming cycle. So in going to the field, we identify those farmers through their cooperatives. We sign them up, we get the data, we sign them up on our platform, and then we show them the protocol. We do some training for them to understand how they should go about their farming activities to make sure they get the desired harvest. The farmer then gets this, and then he signs up on the platform and is ready to receive the sponsorship. We then make the sponsorship available on the website for people to put their money through the platform. When the money comes to us, we then buy up the inputs. So the inputs are things like, for chicken, it will be the day-old chicks, it will be the feeds, it will be the medicines that will be needed, it will be preparing the pen, it will be vaccinations and all. And we get all of that available, and then we disbursing them to the farmers on a planned basis, based on the project timeline. So there's a technical field specialist on that farm that is giving these things to the farmer part-time. The farmer then goes to work and is raising this day-old chick to a proper 1.8 kg chicken that you may eat in ShopRite in Ikeja. But before it gets to the 1.8 kg chicken, the farmer is able to get updates. The technical expert is able to get updates and send them to the sponsor, so that the sponsor can get those pictures, videos, and text. And so that happens for the sponsor while the farmer is working. And then as we approach harvest, we then get the buyers ready to buy up what we've reached, the milestone we've been able to achieve in terms of the quality or the quantity that they want. They mop up the harvest, and then they pay FarmCrowdy. The FarmCrowdy is then able to pay the farmers their money, is able to pay the sponsors their money back, plus there is the promised return after harvest, and then we make something at the end of the day. This is what happens on the field. In the team in-house, there's a lot of technology we're building, there's a lot of people management we're doing, there's a lot of financial management that we're doing, and all of this comes together to make what you have as a beautiful website.
Yeah. So the technicalities you just mentioned, I mean, we can't all understand it. What is the major challenge you've had to face in this business?
It's maybe two, three. The first one is finding the right people on the team. Early on in the business, especially because I didn't have experience in agriculture. My experience has always been in marketing, building other businesses, and technology. But in starting up this business, I was trying to identify who's the right person to work with me on the team. And I took the wrong route of using CVs. So people had 20 years, 50 years experience, and you felt like, oh, this guy is going to be a guru, and he's going to help with this and help with that. And that became a challenge for us, identifying the right people. And so we had to then devote time to putting core values and structures in place around. Once you come in through the door with your CV, we'll put you through several tests and processes to find out whether you're a right fit for the team. The second challenge was getting the farmers to understand the model. But over time, that has changed.
Okay.
So if farmer tells you, this approach you're coming to me with is not what I'm happy to go on. My father's taught me how to just put cassava on the ground, and I go at harvest, and what I see is what I take. The rest, the gods take. Like, no, but you can't do that when you're taking people's money. You've got to be accountable to a process. So training the farmers became expensive for us, but over time, in getting the results we've gotten from the ones that joined us, we've gotten, for instance, in the state, it took us about 3-4 months to identify 200 farmers. We wanted 500 farmers in that state. 200 farmers to work with us. It took us 3 months to 4 months to get those farmers to join us. By the time we went full cycle with this activity, the farmers that came on board the next time, well, there were over 2,000 of them.
Was it a case of them not trusting the process or not understanding the process?
It wasn't a case of not. It was first a case of not trusting the process because it was new, and then to everybody that meets something new, there's usually that fear of, will it work? Am I sure? I mean, let me just do what I'm used to. Not to talk of where money is involved. So that was one problem. The second thing was just maybe the tools were coming to them with and how to show them the way of farming that they were saying to themselves, we don't want this Oyibo technology. We're comfortable with what we've known from time. And that became an issue. But in showing them in performing some demonstration farms for them, they were convinced to join us.
Okay, so you're going to mention the third challenges you're facing.
Yeah, the third challenge we faced was funding. It was difficult for us, not necessarily difficult, but we had to decide how we were going to present ourselves as an organization. It was quite difficult getting people to understand the model, especially because we're the first in Nigeria. We're pretty much maybe the first in Africa. And if there was maybe 1 or 2 other platforms that existed in the world that was doing something similar to what FarmCrave was doing, there won't be more than 3. So that struggle with convincing equity investors that this is a business that you should invest in because we're not just doing good for doing good's sake. We're doing good and doing well. And so you'll be making money and then people's lives will be changing. So that became a challenge initially. But we very quickly tackled that with showing track record, we started showing traction, we started showing how we were able to start small and then get some results. And that's started changing over time for us.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the major aims for FarmCrowd is to engage close to 2 million Nigerian youths to make them understand that they can participate in agriculture through technology.
Yep.
How much of a success have you recorded in this area, and do you think they are open-minded enough to understand that this is important?
So there are 2 entry points, and we made them 2 entry points to join FarmCrowd. One, you can come as a farm sponsor and put your monetary platform and you're getting something at the end of the day. The second entry point is you come in as a farm follower. Now, to a farm follower, what you would do is you select any of the farm types that you were interested in, and then you get the pictures and videos and text updates about what's happening on that farm. But beyond that is you're getting educated about the agriculture process. You get to see how people make money from it. We decided to create a mobile app to help people follow more farms. Today we have close to 100,000 people that have downloaded our mobile app in the last 18 months. And we've not really gone aggressive about pushing that mobile app out. We've been fine-tuning a lot of things. We've changed the mobile app a couple of times to add more features, to make it a lot more interesting for people. Now we're ready to push that out. The second thing we've done is we've built the largest community for agriculture in Africa. As of today, we have 10,000 people that have signed up on that community. These are agric enthusiasts. These are students of agriculture. These are lecturers in agriculture. It's pretty much like your Naira land for agriculture, where you come to and all the questions you have around agriculture, you can ask and you get answers to them almost immediately with a forum style. In addition to that is we've provided content around agriculture, so news content, jobs, grants, all the information people want. We've provided another platform within the same platform. It's called Agric Square. And so in having these 2 sets of channels to touch the young people, to touch youths, we're able to deploy our technology to different areas that allow us to have touch points with a couple of these people. And then also when I look at our social media channels. If I put everything together, I have close to 200,000 people that engage with us on a daily basis around stuff related to agriculture. So it's making it a lot more interesting for the younger people to understand and appreciate what really happens on the farm and how the food on the table that they're eating gets to them. In achieving our goal of 2 million by 2023, this year we are going to go very aggressive with some of those platforms and get more people involved. So we want every faculty of agriculture in all the universities in Nigeria to have their own community on Agric Square. We want all the departments of agriculture in any parastatal to have their community there so that together they start speaking the same language and start communing and start having conversations and continue to grow the sector. So that's going to be our goal eventually. And that's why we see ourselves touching that milestone by 2023.
Okay, so you are private sector doing this. At the moment, would you say the government is doing enough in the agricultural sector?
There's been a lot of push. There's been a lot that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Rural Development has done, and we're quite encouraged by what they've done. I think they've also done a lot of sensitizing. There was that quote of agriculture is the new oil that existed in 2015 that made a lot of people excited about getting involved in the space. And it has drawn a lot of investment and interest in that sector. I think from that perspective, there's been a lot of work that has gone into sensitizing the public. And we're grateful to that because without that effort, farm crowding may have not gotten the traction we've gotten today. There's also been a lot of investment in infrastructure, but I think a lot more can be done in that regards. Also, how much has been done to encourage a tech platform that's focused on agriculture when it comes to farm crowding, and how much the Vice President did in coming to our office to understand what we're doing in farm crowding, sitting with us for 45 minutes to go through our process, to ask us questions, to even go ahead and encourage people to sponsor farms. That was very instrumental for us, and that put us also in a very good light, and we were encouraged by that effort. But I think a lot more just needs to be done, and it needs to be consistent. It needs to continue to happen, and let it not just be a one-off thing. But I think that much has been done. But in scaling up our efforts, I think there needs to be a lot more collaboration between the private sector and the government in order to turn agriculture into business and start achieving the goals that are set for an agri-business venture. There's got to be that touch point. And we're encouraged by what the Nigeria Agribusiness Group is doing, but we want to see more of that driving policies and continue to establish startups, continue to establish organizations, educational institutions that will continue to grow the sector.
Okay, let's talk about the conflict between herdsmen and farmers in Nigeria. I mean, that's very important. And in June 2018, farm crowding lost some farmers. And you are quoted to have said the farm crowd is avoiding places like that. Are you still avoiding those places at the moment? Yeah, so if you've sponsored a farm crowding, you will want us to make sure we've done due diligence around where that sponsorship goes to. I think that becomes our responsibility as custodians of the sponsorship that comes through our platform. And so in making business decisions, we had to make sure, for the sake of not just the sponsorship that comes through the platform, but for the sake of our team members that we have to put in some of these farms to manage the farmers, we had to make certain decisions around the fact that we had to pull some of them out from those risky, security concern areas. It's true, in last year we had an incident at Barkin Ladi, a place that I had gone to and I had met the farmers. We had about 500 farmers there that were growing maize and they were growing soya beans for us there. And when that crisis happened, we didn't just lose the farms. Some of them lost their lives. Some of them lost their families. And it was a very sad situation. And up till now, we still haven't seen enough, we don't have enough confidence to go back to Barkin Ladi to go and start another farm there. We're concerned about farmers across the country. We want to go to other states that we can put our sponsorship in and get a return after harvest and pay sponsors their money, and everybody's happy.
That is our duty. I think it's someone else's duty to deal with the security situation, and that's not our core responsibility.
Okay, we're talking about the losses. I mean, there are deaths. We all hear it, and sometimes we do not understand the magnitude of what this is causing. How much would you say this crisis is affecting agriculture right now?
For instance, if FarmCrowdy is not able to take money back to that particular location, I mean, it's not a lot of money we have to sponsor those farmers, but that little we could have done for 500 farmers in that particular location had to stop. And if these farmers are not able to go back to the farm to work for the fear of what will happen to them, for the lack of security in that location, how will they put food on the table? It's all they know how to do. So it becomes a major issue. It has a huge effect. And to everywhere, that's why to everywhere that there's a crisis today in the country, everything stops. It's not just agriculture. It's agriculture, it's transport. You cannot drive through those areas. You cannot go to the hospital safely in those areas. Everything stops, including agriculture. So it has a huge impact. And we only pray, we only hope that something is done faster in all of these areas. We commend our security forces. They are doing a great job, but they can do better and faster. That is what we want. And when those things are solved and those issues are taken care of, then we can go back to those places and work. I mean, we're happy to work with those farmers as long as we're safe.
Yeah, safety first. FarmGate Africa is a new subsidiary of FarmCrowdy Group.
Yeah.
Aside the word subsidiary, what is the major difference between FarmCrowdy and FarmGate?
So what we've done is we've identified the fact that across the value chain, the agricultural value chain, there are so many other opportunities beyond core production that we can use technology to disrupt. Our model sits on getting people to sponsor farmers to produce what we will eat or what we will sell. There is the logistics angle, there's the warehousing angle, there's the marketing angle. And what we've just done with FarmGate is we've identified the fact that among the three major challenges that farmers experience, one is the access to funding to buy the right inputs. Second is training. And third is market access. We've now taken market access and turned it into another business. And that's what FarmGate is. So the difference between FarmCrowdy, so there's FarmCrowdy production, there's FarmGate Africa, and eventually there's going to be AgriSquare, which we'll announce later on in the year when we'll launch effectively. With FarmCrowdy production, it sits around sponsoring core production activities that happen from putting seed in the ground and expecting a harvest. With FarmGate, it waits for the harvest to come, and then it mops up. It's an aggregator. So it mops up harvest and makes it available to buyers. Both the harvest that comes from FarmCrowdy and the harvest that comes from other farmers across the country. So a buyer can come and say, I want 10,000 metric tons of maize. And FarmCrowdy has maybe done 500 metric tons of maize in the last season of farming. What FarmGate Africa will then do is mop up the 500 from FarmCrowdy and look for other farmer clusters that can provide the quality of maize that this buyer wants and then provide it to the buyer. So that's pretty much.
Yeah, but very quickly, one of the challenges in FarmGate marketing is ensuring compliance to hygiene. What measures have you put in place to ensure that there is quality control and quality maintenance? One
of the things we are known for is our feet is always on the ground. We have sieving centers, we have quality control centers that are scattered across different locations where the farmers bring their foodstuff to a cluster. At the end of the day, they're able to go to, once the harvest passes through the quality control and gets into our warehouse, it is certified as sold. And the farmers get paid almost immediately. So that becomes an opportunity for these farmers to know that if they meet the right quality, we'll mop them up. To the buyers, they are not worried any longer about what FarmGate Africa is giving them because they have seen the quality control we put in those centers. Those clusters that are close to the farmers. And understand that for something to go into our warehouse, it has met the standards that are required.
All right. Thank you so much for your time with us at Plus TV Africa.
Thank you very much, Elsie.
All right. And that is it on One-on-One. We've been chatting with Onyeka Akoma, CEO, FarmCrowdy Group. Thank you for watching. I am Elsie Godwin.
Country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Nigeria, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way dey inside. Come out, fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every will enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
The Ramadan Kareem globally commenced on the 6th of May 2019 as Muslims around the world observed the customary 30 days fast. Plus TV Africa visited the Lekki Central Mosque in Lagos, Nigeria, to speak with the Imam of the mosque, Ridwan Jamiu, on the essence of this holy month of Ramadan.
Ramadan is a very fantastic event in the life of a Muslim. One, it brings about unity among the Muslims. It demonstrates universality of man and unity of mankind. God wants us to be one, as He Himself is one. We have only one Lord and one God. Allah has created us, and we have different tribes, colors, and languages. But these are not reasons for us to discriminate against one another. So fasting has been prescribed since Allah instituted Islam. This is what we have in the Quran, in Quran chapter 2, verse 183. Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, believers, kutiba alaykum as-siyam, kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. Fasting has been prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those who came before you. That is, those who came before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah says, la'allakum tattaqun. The purpose is, God wants you to be pious. And when you are fasting, you abstain from certain things. That will lead you to piety. When you are fasting, you keep away from what to eat, your food, your drink, and sexual intercourse from dawn to dusk. So Ramadan is meant to discipline us, how to discipline ourselves to become decent people, to become morally upright, to be closer to Allah. The purpose is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, for you to become pious. That is, the purpose of fasting is to build in you piety, God consciousness, sincerity and faith. Early in the morning, before sun appears, and also when the sun sets. That is what is known as fasting. That's the time frame for fasting. After sunset, one is allowed to be humane. As you are united in humanity, you are doing the same thing. You have to be humane. You have to love one another with true love. Love which brings about kindness, which brings about compassion, which brings about generosity to others. There is more to fasting than keeping away from eating and drinking. So what is expected of us is to conduct ourselves in a good way. Because our Prophet ﷺ said, "Man lam yada' qawl az-zur wal 'amal bih." Ramadan is a month that we should be closer to Allah than ever. This is an opportunity for us. So Allah wants us to make much supplications in this month of Ramadan because prayers are answered. This month is month of forgiveness. Allah forgives us our sins because of our faith in Him and because of our love for Him, keeping away from things we strongly desire for the sake of God. So for our colleagues the Muslims, the non-Muslims generally, who may want to participate in this fasting, you are all welcome, but with a condition. You have to declare La ilaha illallah, that there is no God who deserves to be worshipped except one God, that is Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So once you declare this, and you join us also in prayers, the 5 compulsory prayers, fasting is okay, you can join us and be fasting. But without these 2, so fasting will not be valid for any non-Muslim.
For Plus TV Africa, Irene Ubani.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
All right, so country people are greeting on top this very clock when Bisonate join us for Inside News on the hour for Plus TV Africa. This one at the 3 when Bison one summer given on top this very clock. My name na Promise Nero. There's a troop of the Nigerian Army on Tuesday don't force attack coordinated on top the Boko Haram for Mole village for the outskirts of Maduguri. This one at the latest destructive attack on top the city of Nigeria violence prone northeast. Brigadier General Bulama Biu, the General Officer commanding GOC 7 Division and Commander Sector 1 of the Operation Lafayette Dole, he don't confirm the development inside one telephone interview with the news agency of Nigeria NAN late on Tuesday. They say the jihadists with the fire anyhow shot in for top the attempt to gain entry to the community for about 6:30 p.m. when make the villagers they run for their life. The development don't make people they talk say the insurgent they plan to attack Maduguri, the capital, but Biu don't talk say a lie. He said the gallant troop don't attack on top attempt by the terrorists to gain entry to Molwe community. They say 5 people don't die after the attack by suspected herdsmen from mobile community of Adokola local government area for Taraba State. The attack will start on Monday for Yowai community under the Jalingo local government area, and later it can enter the Elwa for Abare community of Adokola local government area on Tuesday. According by some members of the community when they follow Channel Television talk, the attackers used motorcycle enter them, and also that they shoot any and they can lead to the death of 5 people when plenty houses when they say they're born. They say the husband still go other community and 2 people they collect treatment for hospital as we did like this. One eyewitness, Francis Nomire, when we say Yana Badi Bege talk say Papa follow for the people when we say they collect stray bullet from the attackers. The State Commissioner of Police, Al-Qasim Sanusi, don't confirm say the command don't hear about the Bege, and security operative don't reach the affected community to restore peace. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, talks that the police they review their strategy onto the worsening security situation of the country. The IGP talked this one as they follow journalists here and after 2-hour drilling by the Senate on Tuesday. According by AIM, the Senate agreed to support the police on top the areas to their job. Plus, a policing the dynamic as they not fit use ultimatum tackle on top the crime. The IGP talk say that discuss the issue of the security when we say the country they want to expand them onto a lot of strategy when we say they don't put in place when we say they won't work. Amnesty International they call for unconditional release of people, including Peking when we say they call up by the military, and they use by force separate them from their wife on top suspicion of say they be members of Boko Haram sect. The country director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojigo, don't stand in support the call for their release. Plus, the government must ensure say the women get justice.
This is the story of the Nifa women. Some of them are survivors of sexual violence. Some of them were beaten, were assaulted. Many of them know the price of hunger, starvation. Many of them saw their children, their loved ones die as a result of lack of food. We have been calling for justice. Justice for everyone that have suffered loss of family, of life, of property, of livelihood, and justice that those who have caused this pain and those who have brought this calamity upon us are also able to feel justice in their lives. We've been calling for an end for this insurgency, for an end for this injustice. And in the course of this, we discovered the enormity of how the insurgency and the fight to end the insurgency has affected family life. Women, children, fathers, brothers, uncles, aunts, grandmothers, grandfathers. The fabric of family life in our state, in Nigeria, is greatly affected by this insurgency. Families are no longer together. Families that do not know where their loved ones are, whether they are alive, whether they are dead. And even those that remained, those that survived, those that are alive, some of them suffered calamities that will remain with them for the rest of their lives.
I suffered so much, and I'm suffering now. So I want to tell to Nigerian government that should release our sons. Now about 9 to 8 years, I didn't see my son. I don't know why. Yeah. So we have telling them, since that 8 years, we have telling them, but nothing could happen. So we want our children, even though they are alive or not, we want to say our children. We want to let them bring out the list of all the detainees since from 2010 up to today.
The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal go today formally start the hearing for the petition when the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for inside the 2019 presidential election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, filed with a party, the PDP, and the 3 other political parties and their presidential candidate against the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari and the party. The All Progressive Congress matter when say so they say Atiku, PDP and others for their many petitions, they find the refusal of Buhari victory for the February 23rd presidential poll on top allegate of widespread rigging, Wuru and Electoral Act, suppression of voters and we get them among other electoral malpractices. The other party they include the Hope Democratic Party, HDP, and the presidential candidate Ambrose Uhuru, People's Democratic Movement, PDM, and the presidential candidate Pastor Minichi Abu, and the Coalition for Change, C4C, and the presidential candidate Jeff Onyeka. Atiku for a petition don't ask make the tribunal disqualify Buhari when Bise will be the winner of the February 23rd presidential election. On top of the ground say him, Buhari, no get the academic qualification to contest for the office of the president. However, Buhari, the APC, and INEC, for inside their separate reply, don't beg the tribunal make them not cancel their victory for the February 23rd poll and make them dismiss the plenty petitions sake of say they allegate they against the conduct of the election and say that they business and they lack merit. The federal government don't call on top the United Nations to support effort make them forfeit restore the lake shall they go original state. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, has received the President of the United Nations General Assembly, Maria Fernandez Espinosa, Garces for the Ministry for Abuja, the court cap for the inside the partnership between Nigeria and the UN. They don't beg the United Nations to help to restore the livelihood of every 13 million residents when we say that they are affected by many people when we say they call the climatic we get them.
We value very much our partnership with the United Nations in trying to achieve these sustainable development goals. Gender issues, of course, we know that that is something that is very dear to your heart, and it also is to ours. And in particular, you are coming from Chad, and you have seen at first hand the climate-induced shrinkage of Lake Chad. And, for us, it's an existential issue because this is a lake that almost 30 million people depend on for their livelihood. And we have seen it shrink by almost 90%. over the years, and this has created very severe challenges for the people of that sub-region, and indeed for our country. And we are looking to have the support of the United Nations and your support in particular to address this challenge. And we are hoping and expecting that a Nigerian, our permanent representative to the United Nations, will succeed you as the President of the General Assembly. And we can just say a very big thank you to you for laying such a very good, strong foundation and base upon which he can build.
I am really delighted to be here in Abuja, and I would like to thank His Excellency Jeffrey Onyeama, Minister of Foreign Affairs, his government, and the people of Nigeria for the kind support in making my visit possible, and of course from the very warm hospitality that I have enjoyed since the very moment that I got out of the plane last night. This is my second visit to Africa since I was elected President of the General Assembly. And I am here to further strengthen the ties between Nigeria and the United Nations, and of course, as the Minister was saying, to raise awareness on the importance of multilateralism with the UN at its center. And multilateralism is the only avenue, the only way that we can tackle, address, and solve the global challenges that are impacting lives and livelihoods across the world, including, of course, climate change, as you very well mentioned. In this very region, the impact manifested in the decline of the Lake Chad basin and its cascading effects on the environment, on the insecurity and violence, displacement and refugees are all interlinked.
President of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, Ms. Maria Espinosa, don show face for Abuja on Monday, May 6, 2019, on top of the working visit to Niger. As part of the final leg of her visit to Niger, now for the University of Abuja, their host time, she don't express her pleasure and gratitude for the opportunity to visit the university.
It is indeed a real pleasure to be here this afternoon. I am so grateful to Professor Umale Adiku, Chancellor of this great institution, for inviting me to speak at the University of Abuja. I also want to thank the members of the organizing committee for the visit, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Nigeria, the UN Resident Coordinator and his team, and other notable individuals involved in the organization of my visit to this institution. Wherever I travel, and I travel quite a bit because of my role at the United Nations, I seek to meet students and young people because these interactions, believe me, are always the highlight of my trips. So thank you for being here, for being so cheerful, and for really being, in a very hot afternoon, sharing this wonderful space with me. Say that today's generation of young people is the largest in the history of the world. Between now and 2030, the deadline we have set ourselves for delivering the Sustainable Development Goals, half of the world's population will be under 30.
The Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, FAO, don't distribute fresh foods to combat malnutrition within the IDP camp for Maduguri. The initiative for collabo with the Swiss government don't make sure say they give food vouchers to internally displaced people them when they say that they run the Kakwama local government area of Borno State. Now that kind of 3,000 households don't benefit from the distribution initiative.
So today we're here for the fresh food voucher distribution that's funded by the government of Switzerland through the Swiss Development Corporation. We're supporting camp and the new stadium camp. They've been provided with different fresh food items such as sweet potato, cabbage, carrots, and a host of different nutritious food items. Much of the food that you see today has been sourced from our farmers supported during the dry season with crop seed and fertilizer for different crops such as cabbage, carrots, onions, things for income generation. So we're very happy that the IDPs will have a source of additional nutrients, something that's a little bit diverse and a departure from a lot of the cereals that they are normally used to receiving in distributions of this kind. But the important thing is that we're supporting our dry season farmers and creating a market for farmers within the state.
All right, and our time to grab one small chicken break. When we show back with some and plenty other to them, I beg, no go anyway. The African Union and the United Nations talk say that they support one civilian-led transitional government for Sudan when they say follow last month overthrow of the president Omar al-Bashir. The AU Commission Chemo Moussa Faki Mohammed tell reporters after meeting on Monday with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres talk say no need to question the sustaining of the military council when say they assume power after al-Bashir come out. Sake of say it not acceptable. But he say military members will be part of the civilian government. People when say that they do will not go grey worker don't call for swift transition to civilian rule, and the AU we don't give the military 15 days to hand over power, but they extend the deadline go 60 days. They say polls go open for South Africa later today, May 8, as voters want to elect lawmakers for one process when they go lead to the choosing of one president by the next National Assembly. The vote now the sixth one since the end of the appetite for 1994 and the adoption of the democracy. On the same day, they will do election for provincial legislature across the country. South Africa get 9 provinces where they say they're involved in Limpopo, Gauteng, Free State, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, KwaZulu, Natal, Northwest, and Mpumalanga province. This SA election hub is part of our African election coverage of the election on ground with our talk person, Daniel Mumbere, and also our different social media platforms. The news could continue after this shaking break. We're going to not go anywhere.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
The Prime Minister Theresa May of the United Kingdom for Loki, they talk for one matter when they say concerns the referendum with the cabinet on Monday before they continue Brexit plan agreement with the Labour Party on Tuesday. The Daily Telegraph talks a government source they say may they get 3 options support for the second referendum when they say they talk they go on with the cabinet members. Say the names now Brexit with deal, no deal, Brexit and no Brexit. Say even with her back-to-back stand against second referendum, the draft Brexit agreement when the day between the make government and the European Union don dey turned down 3 times by the lower house of British Parliament when be say cause delay for the date of Brexit from March 29 when be say go waka reach October 31st this year. For the past few weeks, plenty meeting don dey between Conservative Party and the Labour Party to break the Brexit deadlock, but they say small progress na they do and they don't make. The U.S. President Donald Trump business on the loss reached more than $1 billion from 1985 to 1994 for what the New York Times they yarn. When they say get printed from Trump official Internal Revenue Service tax transcript, the newspaper talks say Trump post what a loss reached $250 million for both 1990 and 1991, when they appear to be more than double any other individual U.S. taxpayer for yearly IRS sample of high income getters then. Trump lost plenty money he can't fit to avoid to pay income tax for 8 of the 10 years the time I talk am. Say over 10 years, Trump main business joined casino, hotel, and apartment building them. He lost $1.7 billion according to the newspaper. The White House now answered the request for the comment, but the New York Times quote one lawyer for the president, Charles Hader, say he talks say the tax information no dey correct. Detecting and disrupting terrorists and other high-risk criminals prior to them carrying out one attack for instance, one high priority for the international community. They don't talk say this one that they make known by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday for the launch of the UN Countering Terrorism Travel Program. As they address the General Assembly, Guterres talk say the recent matter attack for inside Kenya, New Zealand, and Sri Lanka, among others, say this tragic reminder of the global reach of the scourge for inside terrorism. The General Assembly and the Security Council Resolution 2396 reaffirm the need to strengthen international cooperation and inform it when say that they share the improved national detection capacity and prevent the travel of terrorists. Guterres on top the travel program, Guterres he talk matter on top say this one will help member states collect, process and share travel data with other competent national and international authority them with full respect for privacy and other fundamental freedom. To detect scatter terrorists and other high-risk criminals when say that they carry out attack now high priority for the international community. Now the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on top Tuesday talked this one for the launch of the UN Countering Terrorism Travel Program. As he got to address the General Assembly, Guterres talk say the recent bad attack for the Kenya, New Zealand, and Sri Lanka, among others, a tragic reminder of the global reach of the badness of terrorism. The General Assembly and the Security Council Resolution 2396 don't confirm the need to carry the international cooperation and information sharing to improve national detection capacity and make them stop the travel of terrorists when they do anyhow. On top of the travel program, Guterres talk say it will help member states collect, process, and share travel data with other national and international authority when we say that sabi work wella with full respect for privacy and other better freedom there. And next one, not business news. Business, they say the Nigeria Stock Exchange don't reckon drop for big area them after Monday trade with the 1C red for oil area, insurance area join and other area join. Irene Ubani, it get plenty from it. Make we hear.
The Nigerian stock markets closed negative after Tuesday's trade as the All-Share Index dropped by 0.34% to close at 29,096.41. Equity capitalization stood at 10.812 trillion naira, with a total of 4,512 deals recorded. Better Glass recorded gains of 5 naira 70 kobo in its share price from its previous settlement, while Access also gained 20 kobo. However, Julius Berger declined by 2 naira 5 kobo in its share price from its last settlement, and Okomu Oil also dropped by 2 naira. Zenith Bank led the list of top trades by value, with a volume of 22.110 million shares, valued at 458.648 million naira. And on sectoral indices, only the industrial sector gained 0.34%. However, NSE Insurance was down 2.80%. NSE Oil and Gas was down 0.66%. NSE Banking was down 0.54%. And NSE Consumer Goods was also down by 0.54%. For Plus TV Africa, Irene Ubani.
Still on top Plus TV Africa news, this one our roundup of top entertainment and sport news with a show back.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. By no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Top entertainment, they say actor George Clooney on Tuesday, May 7th, does Sama Congratulobia give a wife, human rights lawyer Alma Clooney, and Reuters for the release of two journalists who visited jail for inside Myanmar, and say they're very proud of how they take put body for journalism. Alma Clooney don't be member of the legal team who say that they represent Reuters journalists Wallon 32 and Kwan Su 0028, when say they convicted on September 3rd under the colonial era. Official Secret Act, and when we say they sentence them go 7 years for prison. The two Reuters journalists walk out free from prison on Tuesday after more than 500 days behind bars. As the two after they walk out for the red carpet with Alma Clooney for the Catch 22 premiere, George Clooney say he learned the news during the birthday dinner. The case don't raise question about the Myanmar progress towards the democracy, and it does spark one matter from the diplomat and human rights advocate. Reuters don't say the two men not commit any crime, and it don't say make them release them. They release Wallon and Kwan Su O under one presidential amnesty for 6,520 prisoners. That one now what we get for entertainment. The next one now for sports. Liverpool don't complete better second leg, fight back as they beat Barcelona 4-0 to reach second Champions League final. Barcelona will look like say that they in control after they win 3-0 for Nou Camp for inside first leg, still come up strong from the origin and halftime exchange. Jorginho see Liverpool finish comeback when people not believe. Now Barcelona second time Champions League when we say that they do for fallback season with this. For last season, Roma beat them 3-0 for quarter-final second leg, can't knock them come up for a away goal. Barcelona never reached Champions League final since 2015. Liverpool go face Tottenham Hotspur or Ajax for the UEFA Champions League final for Madrid for 1st of June, with the English club for 6th position.
The thing what made it really possible, and as boys before the game, I don't think it's possible, but because it's you, I think we have a chance. We know that this club is the mix of atmosphere, emotion, desire, and football quality. You cut off one, it doesn't work. We know that. I said it before. For me, this club, if I have to describe it, it's a big heart. And tonight, it was obviously like crazy. And last year, we really felt we have to go back. That was it. After giving, we have to go back. We cannot let it end like this. That's not possible. We get another chance, and we will go for that, of course. But the boys did tonight. When I saw the boys after the game, when I saw tears in their eyes and stuff like that, that's football, and they are professionals, and it's still like this. This club touches you like crazy. It's like you feel much more than others. I don't know. That's in these moments. So it's really great. I love it.
And now the rural to read the web is with some are given on top this very o'clock. For more information, you can follow us for Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it could make sense if you not subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. You go see the summer now plenty to read them. Last as they hot. My name na Promise Nero. And for ya go back break. And I tell you say me gonna get better day. Una well done. country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Niger, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire. As they try offload the diesel way they inside, come out. Fire department come, try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every go enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Welcome to another episode of Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. My name is Sumayuna Jefe. Today's episode will be focusing on entertainment across the continent, from drumming, singing, dancing, and rap. We start with Huguette, a female drummer from Congo who has been practicing drums for 15 years.
For this reason, she left the family home at the age of 19. For me, it's amazing. Not strange, but amazing. She's an extraordinary girl. Andre Yoka is a music professor at the National Institute of Arts. He explains that the drum is a sacred object for the Congolese people. The female image is also fetishized, he says, so bringing the two together can be seen as problematic. The woman is a fetish. When you go to war, do not touch women. When you go fishing, do not touch women. When you go hunting, you must not touch women. If you touch women, you lose. And so the woman is also an object of taboo, and two objects of taboo cannot be together. But Talinga does not want to give up her dream. She encourages other women to join her, regularly meeting to play music spontaneously. Young people from the area watch her with interest. Talinga is now well known in Kinshasa, but she still has problems. The 22-year-old is still looking for a producer to support her, so far without success. But she is determined. One day, I'm going to open up a cultural centre to train other artists. Talinga is already a role model for many girls. Now she wants to get to the top and become a big star in the Congo.
From the drummer in Congo, we go to a self-taught drummer in Kenya who learned his ancestral sound from his grandmother.
When John Rapasa Otieno was a child, he learned the centuries-old sounds of his ancestors while listening to his grandmother sing and watching her traditional dances. He decided to follow in her footsteps. He taught himself how to build and master more than 10 traditional instruments like this nyatiti.
There's need for the young ones to get to know the instrument, to get to know of their land, their people, their music, their environment. And that's why we decided to at least share with them the knowledge that we have of the instruments.
The instrument is a sound box that's tapped by the player, who often taps metal rings at the same time. Rapasa holds workshops to inspire more youngsters to play the traditional instrument from the Luo ethnic group in Western Kenya.
It's what we need to keep our culture alive. And I think Rapasa is really doing much in promoting our culture.
Rapasa didn't have the funds to buy his drums, sound boxes, or harps. So he started building them by collecting used and natural materials like the sisal plant, animal skins, wood, or metal. Sometimes he finds the cans he needs for his rattles at Nairobi's dump sites.
I saw the struggle of people asking, so where do we get that nyatiti? Where do we get that root? Where do we get that peke? Where do we get that nyangile or sanduku, you know? Yeah, so I decided, no, I will travel to these places. I will learn how to make them. And I will learn these sounds and bring them close to the people.
The nyatiti is Rapasa's principal instrument. This 8-string harp originated in Egypt. It was later played by the Luo people of Kenya. The lower 4 strings symbolize the first 4 days after a boy's birth, and the upper 4 strings represent the first 4 days after a man's death. It is traditionally played only by men.
I believe that whatever we are doing will change many. For example, you know, the kids will only do whatever they see every day. I think it's necessary for them to learn this so that it's something that is passing, because I also find people playing them. So that is how I also got inspired.
John Rapasa Otieno teaches youth how to play these traditional instruments free of charge. He's dedicated to upholding his grandmother's cultural traditions. Today, he performs for audiences whenever he can to make this ancient music popular once again.
So what's drumming without dancing? We head to Guinea-Bissau, where a young man is trying to ensure that the cultural dances from his country do not become extinct. Interesting.
4 o'clock. Time for one more rehearsal in Bandim Quarter, in the capital of Guinea-Bissau. Hector Diogenes Casamá directs the Netos de Bandim, Portuguese for Bandim's grandchildren. The group, which has more than 100 members of all ages, promotes the culture of Guinea-Bissau. They've already rescued 23 traditional dances from oblivion. Part of our work is going to a specific region where an ethnic group lives, and we collect information about the dance, music, and costumes. Later in Bissau, the group works on the dance and on the cultural components we rescued. Since its foundation in the year 2000, Netos de Bandim has won almost all the local and national carnival parades, gaining popularity among the youth. Through traditional dances and music, Netos de Bandim has helped keep children off the streets and given them an opportunity. Megalino Suarez de Gama grew up without parents. Today, he is a popular percussionist. I used to lead the life of a street child. I hung around in the streets doing bad things like stealing. But Netos de Bandim changed my life completely. Now I'm studying law at the university. Hector Casamá's initiative helps teenagers to discover their own talents and overcome obstacles in their lives. Most of the children in Netos de Bandim are vendors, orphans. They spend almost 70% of their time doing some work. And we support children in terms of education and health care. The organization relies solely on shows to generate income. There's no external support. Half of the profits go towards supporting the young dancers, such as Myra Paulino Ju, who recently graduated. I used to spend time as a vendor at the market. But Netos de Bandim's help enabled me to go to school every day. Now I don't go to the Bandim market anymore. I'm too busy at school. Netos de Bandim also offers literacy training for parents and vocational courses for the young. Currently, the group has partnerships with several schools and training centers. We have 10 to 15 young people attending training courses. Netos de Bandim have already taken Guinea-Bissau's culture to Gambia, Senegal, and Portugal, and to Carnival in Brazil.
Now, from dancing to more dancing, we head to Chad, where there's an open-air practice for children to discourage them from becoming potential targets for terrorist recruits.
6 o'clock in the morning in central N'Djamena. Dance practice with street children in the open air. Choreographer Aleva Nadavogo Yud is doing this to stop the children from falling into the wrong hands. If the children just hang around on the streets, they become potential targets for terrorists. When we talk of terror today, street children are at a high risk because they have lost hope. And someone who's lost hope might drink and may be ready to do anything for money. For example, working for the Boko Haram militants. No one speaks openly about it, but just about 60 kilometers away in the Lake Chad region, the presence of terrorists can be felt. What looks like a harmless dance is actively preventing terrorism. After 1.5 years of intensive training, the boys have come to trust their instructor. Aleva is my role model. I would also like to become a musician, an artist. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do in the future. Yakub still lives on the street, but Aleva has managed to get him a job at a carpenter's workshop. He doesn't get paid, but he at least gets something to eat. Aleva lives right next to the workshop with his wife and his child. He loves his daughter and spends every free moment with her, a love which most of the boys have never experienced, a love that fights against terror. Aleva is traveling to the other side of Chari River. He wants to visit 3 brothers who lived on the street for months. Thanks to Aleva, the boys returned back home. Their father is jobless and divorced. He has enough problems of his own. Whether they're here or not doesn't really matter. It's their decision. I can't force them into anything. Aleva has a different view. It's much easier when they're here. I can pick them up, work with them professionally, and then bring them back home. Aleva has photos taken for the project. For him, having the twins and their small brother back with their family means success, especially since terrorists cannot reach them here. Some of Aleva's boys spend the night at his place. Whether drunk or sober, the dancer accepts them just the way they are. At first, it was just one boy who would sleep here. Now 30 or more sometimes come. For this, Aleva had to convince members of his family and also the landlord to accept the street children into his home. When I started taking care of the children, everyone was against it. My parents and especially the mother to my daughter. But I told her, she either accepts the children or she can pack her things and go. In the end, she accepted it. We're still together, and nowadays she's the one who begs me to bring the children home so that they don't have to sleep on the street. My girlfriend understood that I'm doing this out of love. And the children can feel this too, each and every day, a little bit more.
Great initiative. Now from dancing, we go to rap. Angola's rapper is taking big risk with his lyrics.
In other countries, it's just an art form. In Angola, it can be dangerous. Rapper MCK works on his songs in a hidden studio in Luanda.
Chamado a tribunal, acusado de golpista, barrado no aeroporto, feito terrorista. A bofia me pediu para ter cuidado, eu disse eu sou cuidado, investigo a voz do ar, não tenho fama de bandido. Sempre fui artista, só falo, não mato, sou rapper de ativista, não calo, sou chato, filósofo e jurista.
MCK, alias Katrogi Nanga Luamba, denounces police violence and poverty. He studied philosophy and uses music to express his desire for democracy in an authoritarian country. My dream is for the country to change. I don't want to emigrate. I want to stay here in Angola and work towards improving my country. I would like to see an Angola with happier people, people that are proud to live here. The rapper grew up in the Makuluso slum in Angola's capital, Luanda. Everyone here knows him. He used to sell clothes on the streets and then began rapping. His experiences in the slums have influenced his lyrics. It is really hard. If you manage to escape drugs and crime as a 20-year-old, then you're effectively a hero here. But you can do it if you believe in yourself and invest in your life. I'm trying to give something back to this neighborhood. Today he wants to perform in Luanda together with his friend and rapper Luati Bairaun, who was imprisoned for a year, accused of planning a rebellion against the president. Even though the government has consistently banned their concerts in the past, they're optimistic this time. They've already found a venue. MCK never gives up. He won't budge an inch from his message. He insists on his values. If he didn't do that, he would definitely be able to perform in front of larger audiences, but he won't compromise. But the state, too, is uncompromising. It bans the concert just before it begins. MCK doesn't give up. He's determined to make his fans happy, so he spontaneously organizes a rap session in his old neighborhood.
Estamos em paz, quero direitos iguais desses betinhos que andavam lá fora. Sem sacrifício, riquinhos de agora. Prefiro morrer a ti, também quero paz no prato. Tudo que eu quero é paz no prato. Dignidade e paz no prato, tá todo. Prefiro morrer a tiro do que morrer à fome, irmãos. A disparidade é enorme, vivemos presos nessa armadilha, condenados a sermos escravos.
His song O Pais do Pai Banana is a parable about Angola's President Dos Santos, who has ruled the country since 1979. The president's family controls all the businesses in the country, so there's clearly a conflict of interest. This song is about how a minority are making a ton of money from the majority of people who keep getting poorer. And MCK won't put up with that. He refuses to keep quiet.
And finally, in Kenya, there is this group called the Ghetto Classics. They can turn any song into an orchestra. Take a look.
Surprising sounds coming out of Korogochu. Celine Akumu and her fellow musicians can transform any song into orchestral music. But Ghetto Classics is more than just a unique orchestra in one of Nairobi's largest slums.
Ghetto Classics is my second family. Yeah. We all stay here like brothers and sisters. Yeah. So maybe if I'm bored at home and I want to relax and have fun, I just come here.
Growing up in Korogocho is tough. But, says Celine, the worst part is the stigma attached to it. She and her fellow musicians have discovered a way to earn dignity and respect.
Sometimes how people talk, yeah, you know, maybe you're from the slums, so you can't do anything. So you find it like it's eating me inside. Yeah, so that's the thing that I want to change.
Celine is 18 and lives with her family. The orchestra is voluntary, so she earns money teaching music. Giving young people perspectives is what organisers set out to do, even though people didn't understand at first.
When we first started, everyone thought we were crazy. what's this classical music nonsense, you know, as opposed to genge or, you know, hip hop or something cool and groovy. And so the kids, I remember our first concert here, we did some excerpts from Handel's Messiah, and we were like, we could have landed from Mars.
But the idea took off with funding from the Kenyan Art of Music Foundation.
I don't think that all the kids who are in our program will necessarily be first-class musicians or the best musicians around. But somebody like Celine, for instance, she is extremely talented. And actually, I feel it's a shame that Celine didn't come into our program when she was much younger, because perhaps if we had met her when she was 8 or 9, who knows what could have come out of this.
And there's still plenty of young talent among Korogocho's 300,000 inhabitants. Celine says Ghetto Classics is a lot more than just a career opportunity.
Music has enabled me, to realize myself and know who I am and what I want in future. So at least it has made me travel a lot and meet different people. So I think music has opened my eyes to see and to know what I want.
Celine has become a role model for others here. Discipline and teamwork are essential for any career, and there is hardly a better way to learn that in Korogocho than through the Ghetto Classics Orchestra.
That's all, people. May your week be filled with dancing, singing, and drumming like today's episode.
We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let everybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Niger, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire. As they try offload the diesel way dey inside, come out. Fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every go enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Goal 10 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals speaks largely about eliminating inequality amongst countries and peoples. The United Nations clearly recognizes that businesses can also exacerbate inequality by being complicit in perpetrating biases and discrimination. The question, however, is, how exactly does this resonate with Nigeria? Lagos is the most populous city in Nigeria and has millions of persons. Among these are little persons also, often found in Osborn in Ikoyi. They are trying to make a living as they grapple with inequality and discrimination because of their physical appearances. Wisdom Abba and his wife Joanne are one of the little persons who moved from other parts of the country into Lagos to make a living by getting employed despite their physical inadequacies. They say that in Lagos, they had hoped to win the battle against discrimination, but this fight, however, seems to be a lost one as they are constantly marginalized by some employers while hunting for jobs.
Sometimes, somebody will promise me at where I'm selling market, just with drive car, we say we find work for me. I will pull up on that person. At last, the person will They will not find a job. Promise me. Many of them.
When I want to look for a job, they said they can't give me a job, that I'm too short. They said I should go.
This couple is not the only little person seeking an end to discrimination in job hunting. Nkubi and Shapali are celebrity broadcasters. They too say that they have had a painful taste of societal rejection.
I got called up for an interview. One of the management now walked up to me and told me that, look, I am sincerely very sorry. You are not the kind of person we are looking for.
My sister, growing up, she'll be like, Daddy, where do you get this thing from?
Though Shapali comes across as a very confident woman, she says growing up was torturous.
I'm talking to you, I don't know my mom till now. She ran away because I am a dwarf.
She adds that her self-esteem was dealt a devastating blow for even thinking of marrying a tall man and begetting tall offspring, as her mother-in-law rejected her.
I had a relationship that the guy, took me home to the mom. And I was there in their living room, seated, and the guy went to call the mom. The mom came and was like, where? Sorry, oh my dear, sorry. Where is the wife? My son said he brought. And I was like, it's me. And stop joking now. How will it be you? My son came up to come that he brought somebody. I was not accepted.
Bash and Iyatokpe are 9-to-5 persons. They reveal that they have also been treated with inequality countless times.
My own junior brother, the one that follows me, he also thought I'm kind of like a junior to him. We usually fight every day.
I go one place. I say they find person will go sweep here. They say not true. I say I won't do it. You do it. Which hand do you want to take sweep here?
With only 12 years left to expunge inequality by 2030, only little is known if Nigeria will truly wipe out this menace. But Wisdom and his wife Joanne, Nkubi, Shapali, Bash and Iyatokpe continue to hope that someday they will be treated like every other human being. I am Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Infection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewike, and here are some of the stories making the headlines. Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, began a protest on Wednesday over the delay in the inauguration of the board of an agency. The union had accused the Labour Minister, Chris Ngige, of being desperate to run the National Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, as a sole administrator because he wants to turn the trust fund into his cash cow. The union, led by its General Secretary Peter Esan, marched to the minister's Sokoto residence on Wednesday, carrying placards with various inscriptions accusing the minister of illegality. Our correspondent reports that policemen were drafted to the minister's residence to disperse the tensed protesters. Nupeng declared 2 of his members missing as a result of the clash that ensued between the police and protesters, and also threatened to go on a nationwide strike if they are not found.
That there is no force on earth that is stronger than the feeble strength of any worker. Yes. I want to also assure Nigerian workers that this is just the beginning of the struggle. Yes. We went to picket both his office and his house. He has used talks with the help of security agencies to attack us and also attack our vehicles. By tomorrow, we are calling the Central Working Committee of all our unions, and we are going to respond effectively. We are in a democratic era. The freedom for all Nigerians to freely assemble for the purpose of protecting their rights and interests is guaranteed by the Constitution. If a federal minister under a dispensation that understands the rudiment of the rule of law will then take laws into his hand because picketing is legal. Our labor laws allow workers to picket. Our labor laws allow us to exercise our rights to protest when policies are not there. And in this instance, we are protesting when people continue to feast with our funds at the Social Insurance Trust Fund. We are not going to relent until the needful is actually done. Yes. And therefore, comrades, we are here. We are going to visit his office. Yes. Yes. We must tell him that the office does not belong to him. Yes. He is holding that office in public trust. Yes. He has no right to use or misuse that office to the benefit of himself. That office is a public office, and our political elites must realize that they are holding office in public trust. Any day that trust is broken, then certainly there is no democratic principle in place. So, comrades, for some of
Troops of the Nigerian army on Tuesday repelled attacks coordinated by Boko Haram at Moloi village in the outskirts of Maiduguri, the latest onslaught on the beleaguered city in Nigeria's violence-wrecked northeast. Brigadier General Bulama Biu, the General Officer commanding GOC 7 Division and Commander Sector 1 of Operation Lafayette Dole, confirmed the development in a telephone interview with the news agency of Nigeria late on Tuesday. The jihadists reportedly fired sporadic shots in an attempt to infiltrate the community at about 6:30 p.m., forcing villagers to flee. The development sparked speculations that insurgents were on course on attacking Maiduguri, the capital, but Biu dismissed the report as misleading. He said that gallant troops had repelled an attempt by the terrorists to infiltrate Moloi community. Still in the news, 5 persons are feared dead following an attack by suspected headsmen in Mobai community of Adokola local government area in Taraba State. The attack started on Monday at Woye community under Jalingo local government area and later escalated to Yewa in Abara community of Adokola local government area on Tuesday. According to some members of the community who spoke to newsmen, the attackers rode on motorcycles and shot sporadically, which led to the death of 5 persons and several houses burnt. They also said that the headsmen ransacked other communities and 2 persons are receiving treatment in a hospital. An eyewitness, Francis Nomiri, who narrated the incident, said his father was among those who got hit by stray bullets from the attackers. The State Commissioner of Police, Al-Qasim Sanusi, confirmed that a command has been intimated on the issue and security operatives have been deployed to the affected communities to restore normalcy. The chairman of the Northern Elders Forum, Professor Ango Abdullahi, has lamented the growing security challenges facing the country, saying President Muhammadu Buhari is not doing enough to salvage the situation. The former Vice-Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, was reacting to the presidency's assertion that the kidnap of the district head of Daura, Buhari's hometown in Katsina State, had shown the security agencies were not given any town preferential treatment. Abdullahi slammed the presidency, saying the current security issues in the north was worse than when Goodluck Jonathan was leading the country. The leader urged the presidency to focus on securing lives and property in the country. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Adamu told senators on Monday that there is little or nothing the police can do to curb the rising waves of insecurity in the country with shortage of funds, inadequate equipment and personnel. The IGP, who was drilled for 2.5 hours on the security situation in the country, told the lawmakers at a closed-door session that the major problems confronting the police force were shortage of funds, men and material required to carry out the job. Public affairs analyst Gbolahan Olojede gave his take on this.
What is wrong is it's a multidimensional problem. The police as an institution in itself, what kind of training, what kind of people apply to be policemen, what kind of training do we give them? What is their welfare like? If I'm shot as a policeman in the course of duty, what is the insurance I have for what will my family have a recourse to if that happens? If I'm maimed, I'm unable to walk again, what do I get? So from the recruitment itself to the training to the welfare, everything is wrong. We all know so much has been said about SARS in the past, but beyond SARS, it's not just about SARS. In the last negative news was about arresting prostitutes in Abuja, and the people they called prostitutes in the first instance, how did they establish that they were prostitutes, and then they were now raped, and all those kind of things. So we can see that even in the mundane things, we do not have the right force. That is the starting point. Then now come to the complexities of the situation that these ill-prepared, ill-rewarded police had to deal with. It is extremely complex. I've listened to people. I almost bought into the fact that Zamfara crisis is all about mining of gold, until I watched an interview of people in some Zamfara villages, and then I begin to ask myself: is it really about mining? The people that were interviewed, that local government, there is no single mine, no gold, no mining was going on there. And people, the bandits still went in there. In a spate of 3 days, they wiped about 87 people. They refused to collect any money. They were not asking anybody for money. They were just killing at random. So if you think it was about reward, then you begin to ask yourself, why didn't they take any reward? They were just interested in killing and burning those buildings. If it was about gold, there was no mine in that particular local government. So the problem is it's quite complex. Where you have unemployed youth, the energy of the youth must be deployed. It's either you harvest it and deploy it positively, or you allow it to run riot and it will be deployed into negative things, into vices of all sorts. A hand that is available, the devil can use. That is the truth. So where you have a whole lot of people, young people, with all the energy, mental and physical, and they're not gainfully engaged, they are open to vices. So unemployment is a major problem. And the sad thing about unemployment is that we need to get more dramatic about measures, because it's not about to go away. We have a nation in which population is growing faster than the economy. So what that means is that more people will continue to slip into poverty as long as that situation remains. We are producing more people, we are unleashing more people into the employment market than the number of jobs we are creating. As long as that situation remains, unemployment will continue to widen. So the problem remains as it is, or probably will even be going worse. It's not meant to achieve something than to send the message to the people that the Senate is also doing something about the security. The Senate has a security committee. The security committee could have arranged to meet with the security chiefs and have a more heart-to-heart talk, which are likely to be more realistic than the public show when you put the guy on the stage. This is a jamboree.
Amnesty International is calling for the unconditional release of persons, including children, detained by the military and forcefully separated from their wives over suspicion of being members of the Boko Haram sect. The country director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojigo, standing in solidarity, called for the release, saying government must ensure the women get justice.
This is the story of the Nifa women. Some of them are survivors of sexual violence. Some of them were beaten, were assaulted. Many of them,
So I want to tell to Nigeria